Hey everyone, it's Petticoat from Rock Daydream Nation. Hello and welcome to Mark O'Neill from Pulse 94.7 FM. How's it going, Mark?
Very good, thank you, and that's where I am right now.
Good to see you. Now, I've got you in the hot seat yet again for a little bit of deliberation, and this one is a really tough one. We're going to talk Black Sabbath, the Ozzy years, and we are going to pick best song, worst song, every album. Now, I tell you what, this was a really tough mental exercise, a lot of toing and froing. Was this tough for you as well?
Well, not the best songs, because basically, I became a Sabbath fan when I was 10. My uncle gave me the debut album probably a few months after it was released. And from there, I just automatically established, as each album came out, a favorite. And a few weeks ago, right after Ozzy died, on my show Raised on Rock, I did an all Ozzy show. The first hour was one song from each of his albums with Sabbath. Second hour was solo stuff. So the favorite ones have pretty much been the favorites for many, many years. So that didn't take that much, but the worst ones, that was a little more difficult.
Yeah, and when we say worst, folks, we don't mean worst as in bad, probably the least favorite, or maybe the track that we just don't gravitate to. Would that be fair to say, Mark?
Yeah.
Because we've got to say their discography is such high quality. It's sort of like the cornerstones of heavy metal and hard rock, isn't it?
Yes, without doubt.
Absolutely. So we'll talk the 70s albums, and we're also going to talk 13, so nothing gets missed out. This is purely the Ozzy Osbourne fronted years. So let's get started. Without further ado, we'll go into the Black Sabbath album from 1969. Mark, without doing a history lesson and going into the reads, this album is where it all began and, arguably created heavy metal, didn't it?
Yes. Now, when I first heard it, especially the song Black Sabbath, again, I was 9 or 10, and my uncle used to give me stacks of albums, some that he didn't want and some he would buy for me. And if my grandmother, if she heard especially the title track, wow, I would have been in deep water. But that's my favorite from the first album. It is a song that absolutely stunned me. And I have hundreds and hundreds of songs in my mind that before the video age, we just had our minds. So I would have these visions in my mind of what was being sung about, and it never changed. Whatever the first one was, it still is today. So when I was listening to it and then trying to imagine what was going on in it, I don't think, well, up to that time, I definitely wasn't affected by a song as much as that. What came close was a couple of years before was The Crazy World of Arthur Brown's Fire. That did a number on me. But wow, I've never been the same since Black Sabbath, the song.
Yeah, absolutely. And it inspired so many different bands and so many genres. That's kind of the starting point, isn't it? That one song.
Yeah.
It's scary music. They set out to make scary music. So was that an emotion that you had when you were a little ticker hearing that song?
No, I wasn't scared. I always loved scary movies. And I mean, my friend and I snuck in to see The Exorcist when I guess we were 13, 12 or 13, whatever. We laughed all the way through it.
Well,
so I that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your least favorite song on the album?
Well, I settled for Evil Woman. I'm not crazy about the chorus, but it's still a good song, and I had to pick one, and that's the one.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something really primal and primitive about the album, but it's so compelling. And to think that they just recorded it really quickly,
Hmm.
not multiple takes, but what they captured was something that is quite special
Yes.
and set the train. My favorite song on this album is The Wizard
Mm.
because I like it. It's got that, I like stoner rock. So it's got a
Yeah.
bit of that stoner rock vibe. It's a bit jazzy. And I love Ozzy and his harmonica playing.
Mm.
Tony's got really tasty riffs, and Bill Ward's got these finely tuned percussive fills. He's always sort of said he's more of a percussionist than a drummer. And
Yeah.
that approach, that unorthodox approach, really adds to the mix of Black Sabbath. And dare I say, Ozzy's vocals are very bluesy. Hello, Martin
Yeah.
Popoff.
Oh, yeah.
It's there, it's bluesy. So
Oh,
that's my
absolutely.
favorite. That's my favorite. Least favorite, I still like it, is Sleeping Village. I find
Hmm.
Ozzy's vocal tone a little strange. Now, this probably says more about me than the actual song. The song arrangement is a little piecemeal. It doesn't flow like the other tracks, but
Hmm.
Bill Ward's drumming is a masterclass. And
Yes.
it doesn't make this song sound anything less than interesting. So
Hmm.
um, probably the song that I just gravitate to the least, but I means I don't think it's a bad song. It's just
Yeah.
the least favorite.
Hmm.
All right. So this album did pretty well. It was a bit of a word of mouth experience, a cult album, and Paranoid is where it went
Yeah.
exploded. And a lot of the songs on this album, Mark, are sort of staples of Sabbath, aren't they? They're part of the rusted on set list.
Oh, yeah.
Best song, least favorite song. What are your picks?
Well, the best song, and well, it's Aria Man. Now, a few weeks ago, maybe more now, I got an email. Now, the guy got it backwards, sort of, but he said to me in the email that Aria Man, the riff is Black Sabbath, Smoke on the Water.
Iron
Even though,
Man is like Black Sabbath's Smoke on the Water. Hmm.
and he was going by the riff, but then I emailed him back. I said, but Aria Man was out first. And he said, oh, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's an awesome riff.
Maybe he's just saying it's just so simple, iconic.
Yeah.
I know a lot of I've been in a lot of garage bands, and it's a
Mhm.
couple of chords that people can string together pretty quickly,
Oh, yeah.
working it out. Nice. Very primal too. Very primal. What's your least favorite?
Rat Salad.
Okay.
It's not a bad song at all, a little short, but I'm thinking, did Edgar Winter get the idea for Frankenstein from that?
Maybe.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that. Um, my favorite is Paranoid. I think that nobody can describe the first time and the joy and the excitement of hearing that song for the very first time. I've sung it in bands. I've seen a lot of bands cover it. Ranging from proto speed punk bands like the Dickies to whoever. A lot of metal bands. It's just proto punk. It's garage rock. It's metal. The urgency, the delivery. It's it's a perfect song,
Yeah, it
and
is.
it was a smash hit where Sabbath were on top of the pops, or maybe or just whatever those hitmaker shows were in the UK.
Yeah.
It's easy to see why this was a high charting single. It's their signature song.
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. I think it's perfect.
Oh,
It's
it
a
is.
perfect song. And to be quite frank, there are so many perfect songs on this album. It was a
Yeah.
choice. Iron Man, War Pigs is a wonderful song.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that this album is blessed with so many, made it really tough. But I had to just go for the obvious one. So maybe Paranoid is the Smoke on the Water. I'm not sure. It's up there. I think Paranoid, War Pigs, and Iron Man would be the three most well-known songs in the Sabbath song catalog. They
Yeah,
would
I'd
be
agree with that.
the three key ones. So if we were, you know, 500 years in the future and there's an encyclopedia and you look up B for Black Sabbath in talking about rock music,
Hmm.
those three songs would be mentioned, I think.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Yep. Electric Funeral is my least favorite. I don't think it's melodically as compelling as the other tracks.
Hmm.
It's a bit limited. Ozzy's vocal is just following the melody. Iommi
Hmm.
gets at the wah wah pedal. It's
Yeah.
kind of got a bit of a late 60s freak out sound to it. It's a little bit like this came out in, what was it, 71 or 70? To me, it sounds like a bit of a 60s throwback. I do like the change in tempo and it gets really jazzy and there's a bit of uplift in Ozzy's vocals. And
Hmm.
he gets really strident. He starts speaking electric funeral, electric funeral. I think that's kind of, novel. But all in all, I don't mind it. But to me, there are so many gold carats on this album.
Yeah.
I've got to, you know, I've got to pick those. So this is my least favorite.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, Masters of Reality.
Yeah.
Um, I love this album. I think this is the prototype greatest stoner rock album ever because this is more stoner, in my opinion, rock than doom. What do you think of this album and best song, least favorite?
Yeah. Oh, great album, without doubt. Uh, well, I have to go with Children of the Grave. And I
No,
especially loved when they opened with it. And they did also on most of the Born Again tour. So I got to see Ian do it twice. Well, I've seen basically every vocalist they had except for every major vocalist, not for a day or two, except for Hughes. And I just love Children of the Grave. It's got it all, a bit of the gallopiness, the lyrics, the band is smoking, just firing on all cylinders. And that's one of the songs that all the times I saw Sabbath, every lineup did it.
rusted on.
Yeah.
It's galloping, isn't it? It's like you're on a horse.
Hmm.
It's just yeah. I think if you're a vocalist in Black Sabbath, this is the song when you look at the song set going, I'm looking forward to singing this one.
Yes.
No, that's killer.
Hmm.
Least favorite.
It is Lord of this World. Now, not that I don't like it, but Ozzy's vocals almost sounds like he's singing into a megaphone. It's just something off about it. And again, I love the whole album, so that would be the least song that I like the best.
Okay, no worries. My favorite is After Forever. I
Oh
think
yeah.
I love the whole. I like the lyrics. I think
Hmm.
I've always said that Geezer Butler is one of the most underrated rock lyricists.
Hmm.
A lot of people sort of, the rock critics, because he's in a metal band, are a little bit dismissive, but he's like Dylan-esque.
Hmm.
And this lyric is just challenging the people's perception of religion. It's deep, it's thoughtful, it's insightful, and it has one of Iommi's most gnarliest riffs in the verse. It's
Hmm.
so in the pocket. I love this. And I did a show on this channel, and I picked 5 Sabbath songs that I would like to hear at the last time, and this was one of them. But
Yeah,
it didn't get picked. All a couple of the others got picked, but not this one. But I would have loved to have heard this.
yeah.
Orchid. Iommi does these little palette cleansers. They these nice little interludes and acoustic ones. I like it, but it's a bit throwaway because I want more stoner rock.
Hmm.
This album doesn't have many tracks, Mark, and there's not an inch of fat on it, and I just want a little bit more. But that's the way they ran, didn't they? Sabbath, keep it lean, keep it mean, and ready for the next album. So
Yeah,
Orchid. Did you like the little acoustic interludes? Because he's done that right throughout the catalog, hasn't he?
yeah. Oh, I can't. There are 2 guitarists that, well, from that era that I think stand far above the rest, and that's Blackmore and Iommi. They're opposites. Um, Blackmore's is the madman, and Iommi is Mr. Cool. But I think those 2 were the guys. Everyone else, for whether it was for who they inspired or stage performance or everything else, were far below those 2. In fact, I was thinking of trying to put a list together of their 25 best riffs each and do maybe might be a 2-part show on it. But basically, I think, well, say you had a deck of playing cards, and instead of kings and queens and all that, it had half Blackmore riffs mentioned and half Iommi riffs. What I do is I take out Burn because I think that's the best, and then shuffle them. And you almost don't need any other guitarists from that era.
Yeah, absolutely. No, no arguments from with me. I love the tone of both. Iami's the riffmeister.
Yeah,
Even playing on Patient Number 9 on the Ozzy album. I love those 2 tracks.
yeah.
He's just got a bag of tricks and he just brings them out, and he's just an absolute riffmeister. So, all right. So we go to volume 4 that came out. What's your favorite and least favorite?
I love Snowblind. Everything again, these songs were established when I was really, really young, and they've stayed the same all these years,
And
just album by
what was
album.
that song about, Mark?
Sorry.
What was that song about?
Oh,
Snowblind.
well, at around that time, Steppenwolf had a single out called Snowblind Friend. Probably a little before that. It was written by Hoyt Axton, who wrote The Pusher. And Steppenwolf had a choice to do Snowblind Friend or Joy to the World. They chose Snowblind Friend. Three Dog Night did Joy to the World. Snowblind Friend was banned from radio in America, unfortunately. But because I think they laid it, the lyrics just totally laid it on the line. It wasn't a between the line thing.
Yeah, there's no misunderstanding what they're talking about.
Yeah, but always loved Snowblind.
Least favorite?
Changes.
Ooh.
Now back then, I loved pop music, I loved pop rock, and I loved rock. So I didn't like when a rock or hard rock band did mellow things. And again, it's all stayed with me through these years. Now, if Sabbath were to do it today, if that album just came out today and they did it, I would probably like it. But it just got sort of tattooed on my brain. Nope. The rockers got a rock, like the pretty much think of Slade's Get Down With It. To me, that, that was rock. That's how Slade should be with their stuff. And Sabbath had their sound, and so on and so forth. So I was pure rock with the rock bands. And but every week I faithfully listened to Casey Kasem's American Top 40 because I did love pop music too.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be contrarian. I think that's my favorite song on the album because it's so different, and it was a kind of a breath of fresh air. And I don't say that in a derogatory or negative way, but it was something completely different.
Yeah.
And it showed the emotive side of the band. And I really like Tony Iommi and the Mellotron, because I'm a huge Mellotron fan, and it's just dripping with Mellotron. And it's a kind of a very simple melody. It kind of has a little bit of a lilt about it.
Yeah.
But it's very heartfelt. And, I really appreciate when Ozzy, I think some of the songs that Ozzy sings, and I might talk about this in another album in a couple of albums' time, where he goes down that ballad route again. When he wears his heart on the sleeve, it comes across as very sincere and compelling. And I think this is one of probably the best Black Sabbath ballad. Not that there's a big pool to choose from, but it's probably one of the greatest ballads in Sabbath's catalogue. I'm not a huge fan of this album. I don't know why. I did come on your show and I kind of gave it a little bit of my feelings about it. I don't know. I think they were running out of lyrical ideas. It's very much a drug album. I think they were really kind of at the stone cold peak of excess and weariness and the road and everything that was happening. And to me, lyrically, it's not inspiring. There's some really gnarly, decent riffs, but to me, I just like some of the other albums much better. So I don't know why. A lot of people dig Volume 4, but I'm not one of them. I think it's a little bit overrated, and that's probably contrarian. My least favorite is Laguna Sunrise, another instrumental, bit throwaway. So that's all I've got to say on that one. All right, we get to the next album, and Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, which some people say is the prog album, the prog metal album. Do you like this album? And favorite and least favorite song on this album?
Yeah. In fact, that has moved up my charts in the last 5 years or so, and Volume 4 has been slipping down slowly but surely. But probably Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is the Sabbath album that I've played most this year. So love it. And a song that from the first time I heard it, now there are songs when they get stuck in your head, you want to jump off a building because a lot of times they're terrible songs. Killing Yourself to Live, that's one that got in it could stay in there forever. I just love it. And so that's a great song to get stuck in there. And the whole band just contributes so much to it.
Thanks a lot, mate. It's in my head now. Killing Yourself to Live. It's in my head. I would have loved to have heard that in the final concert. Because anything, look, when you think about it, they did pull out. There were quite a few bands that pulled out some smokies, some tracks that I wouldn't have expected that they would have pulled out. So the way it was looking, it was very much on the cards. They could have played that, but I really liked that that song. And look, I think this is Sabbath being experimental, being brave, and getting proggy. Listening to a bit of Yes, ELP, get Rick Wakeman on the keys, and voila. What have you
It's
got?
it's funny you should mention Yes, because I always talk about how I have weird associations, especially if I hear something for the first time, on what that song could have been, like something different or someone else doing it. The first time I heard Roundabout, I pictured Ozzy doing it. Just think about it. He would have nailed it.
He would have.
Yeah.
He would have. He had a very. I think his vocals were very underrated, and
Hmm.
he's just unusual. Nobody sounds like Ozzy.
Yeah.
Nobody. What's your least favorite in Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath?
Who are you? I
Right.
just I just think the synthesizer is distracting. And I still like the song, but again, there's got to be a least favorite, and that's it. But
Yeah.
it's almost like when I did the Ozzy special, uh, I forgot what song. Well, it might have been more than one, but you had Geezer playing, on all the Ozzy tracks or the with Sabbath. But then when I played some live stuff from Speak of the Devil, the bass was so different than Geezer that it was distracting. And I'm not saying it was bad, but it was different, and it just sort of, get you focusing on what's different instead of enjoying the song.
Interesting you should say that. I've got a show coming up on Rock Daydream Nation with Joe B, and we're doing an album battle, and it's Speak of the Devil versus Live Evil. So
Oh,
catch that. And we do talk about the mind explosion when Joe first heard Speak of the Devil, because it
mhm.
really sort of the interpretations are a little bit upside down. So you've really,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't mind them necessarily sounding different. Like if Sabbath, when they had different lineup changes, if they changed the songs to sound like that, I wouldn't have been happy. But I don't mind it, but just don't do it. Don't overdo it.
yeah, understand. Who are you? I don't mind that. There's a little interlude in the middle of the song, and it reminds me of a spaghetti western. And
Mm-hmm.
Bill Ward's playing this little drum fill on the
Mm-hmm.
snare, and it just reminds me. It's sort of I'm in the middle of a Clint Eastwood movie, and then it suddenly changes into another melody, and then it goes back into the main riff. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's so musically fertile.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at those early Black Sabbath albums, let's face it, musically it was quite narrow,
Mm-hmm.
the musical range. But over time, I think Tony Iommi had musical curiosity, and
Yeah.
each album was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when it got to Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, it was like this,
Yeah.
and was looking for, let's get some strings in, let's get Hammond organ, let's get Moog, let's get this and that, just everything but the kitchen sink.
Mm-hmm.
I really rate this album so highly. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is my favorite song because it has one of the most gnarliest riffs. Um, I love it when Tony does that down tune riff. It's the payoff,
Mm-hmm.
where Ozzy goes, "Who can you run to?" Do 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 do. It really down tune. And I reckon that was the genesis of death metal. I think there was a lot of death metal, black metal, speed metal. Thousands of bands heard that gnarly guitar line and just created, you know,
Yeah.
millions of riffs and songs out of that. I think it's great. The song, when you listen to it, it's a real interesting song because it's got two styles. You've got that really gnarly chorus, but the the verses or the bridge has this lilting country guitar line, and it's quite pretty, you know, when you
Mhm.
ask the reason why. So it's a contrast. It's got these two different styles of music in one song. Love it. I think it's so interesting. Um, Fluff is probably my least favorite. Another palette cleanser. It's a pretty
Mhm.
melody, acoustic guitar, piano, but it's not. It's a bit forgettable.
Mhm.
Mark, next album, Sabotage. I did a show. I think this is probably the greatest hard rock album of all time. It's my favorite Black Sabbath album. What do you think?
Well, my favorite, yeah, I agree. My favorite on it is probably the most powerful song of the Ozzy era, "Hole in the Sky." I mean, that they could have expanded that to 20 minutes or whatever, and I just can't hear enough of it. Just absolutely awesomeness.
He's singing his ass off, isn't he? He
Oh
really
yeah,
is. I think his vocals on that album are his greatest.
yeah. And I really didn't notice that until a couple of years ago. But just if it were just "Hole in the Sky," that would be great enough. But yeah, I agree. Album wide.
And they pulled it off in the
Yeah.
final concert. Metallica chose it. So that was a highlight. That was one of the songs that I was in my pick list that I would love to see them cover, and they
Yeah.
did it. Um, it's one of my favorites. It's my favorite track. So sorry, I'm jumping the gun, but I might as well just jump in. I think it's wonderful. It's got a gnarly rolling riff. It's dirty. It's grunging,
Mhm.
and Ozzy's got this real evangelical conviction. You know, gateway to heaven. You know,
Mhm.
it's just he's like the rock and roll preacher. You can imagine
Mhm.
his hands are in the sky. Gateway to heaven. I love it. I
Well,
think it's
speaking, I
it's
played
great.
the I played the other day on my show Slade's "Rock and Roll Preacher," and Noddy was doing at the end of it, especially quite a bit of preaching.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely. Noddy and Ozzy were, I think, were very close, very close. I think I've seen quite a few photos of those guys. But yeah,
it's
sorry.
a shame because Slade was supposed to open for Ozzy in '83, I think, but Dave Hill of Slade, I think he had hepatitis or something. That was Slade's last chance in America, and although that album did pretty good, if they went on the road with Ozzy, they would have been enormous. And it, would have taken all those years to do it. So therefore, I would have said to Dave, "We love you, but we're not canceling. We're going to get someone else in."
Yeah, maybe it's a topic for another show. Do you really think they would have made America? They're not very photogenic. I always found, like in the UK, it doesn't matter what you look like. Like
Yeah,
Lemmy, Motorhead, number one album. But I think in the US, these guys in Slade looked a bit rough. And
they did.
they
Yeah,
were probably on the wrong end of the beauty stick as pop stars. Do you think they would have broken through?
I think they would have because "My Oh My" and "Run Runaway" both made the top 40, and they got shown quite a bit on MTV. And the difference is from years before. Like I saw some films of Slade in America, and the people were like, "What's this?" But now you're in the video age. Everything was bright and colorful, and I think Slade fit in perfectly in America back then. And they came so close.
Yeah, maybe it's a topic for another day. We'll park that to the side because I've got a slightly different opinion on that. But no, interesting. Okay, so what's your least favorite of Sabotage?
Super Czar. Now, On its own, it as part of the album, it's okay. You listen to it on its own, it doesn't stand out. But when they would open their shows with the recording of that, and then it would go into the opener. I don't even remember if they did it with Ozzy, but I know with Tony Martin they did. And I'm not sure if they did with Gillan. But for a show opener, it was pre-recorded, and then they'd go into the song. It was unbelievable. But as far as on this album goes, that would be my least.
Yeah, it's got a very eerie feel to it. It's like the army coming from the bowels of hell, sort of like in the same genre as The Omen or The Exorcist. I don't know. It's a bit of a spooky one. I think that's one of the finest instrumentals. So I haven't picked that as my least favorite. I actually like it. It adds a little bit of dynamics to this album. I've chosen Am I Going Insane? Ozzy takes on a different vocal intonation. There's double tracking vocals. It's like he's singing in a character voice. And it's got a slightly Eastern mysticism feel about it, probably through Iommi's guitar tone, whatnot. So that's probably my least favorable. But Sabotage is my favorite Sabbath album. And I think it's got some of Tony's greatest riffs. I think Ozzy, I don't think you've got on tape a better vocal performance. And there's a lot of anger because this band their backs were at the wall because they were fighting with their manager, the Rit, finding out that they were getting ripped off left, right, and center. And I think there was the anger and the frustration came out in their playing. They were just really hitting it hard. And I think this is a really, really strong album.
Yep.
All right. So now we get towards the back end of the 70s. And these two albums don't get a lot of love, Mark, but maybe that's a little bit unfair. Off the Technical Ecstasy album from 1976. Favorite, least favorite?
Well, I might be the only one in history to pick this song. And people watching this might throw their computers. Rock and Roll Doctor. That's probably, other than the terrible version of Blue Suede Shoes that they did live, it is probably the only pure rock and roll song that they did. But even when Tony goes into the solo, it gets proggy temporarily. But hearing them just sing a song that, well, I mentioned Slade, that Slade could have done it in a lot of other bands. But I just loved it. And a cowbell, Sabbath with a cowbell. It just stood out so much. And then I was just totally shocked when on the Born Again tour, when Gillan did it. Well, that's my favorite.
Have you heard the Steve Wilson remix? I got the box set for Technical Ecstasy. It's in there. And there's a couple of versions. Well, a remix version of Rock and Roll Doctor. And it sounds pretty good. Brings up the keyboards a bit more. Much better than the album. All right. What's your least favorite?
She's Gone.
Well, surprise.
It's a 5-minute song, but sometimes it feels like 25 minutes.
Come on, Mark. You're a softie. What's so bad about this song, eh? You don't like Changes, and you don't like She's Gone.
No, if it came out 10 years later, maybe I would have. But I couldn't believe my ears when, well, I would have been, how old was I then? 16. And no.
It is melodramatic, isn't it? The strings come out.
Yeah.
Nothing much more to say? No?
No, just again, I don't hate it, but uh that's one of the few that I would say could have been replaced before
Fair,
it was released.
fair enough. My song that I like the most of this is All Moving Parts Stand Still. So listen to Geezer's bass playing on this album. It's on this particular track. It's R&B, it's boogie. You've got funky blues. Ozzy's vocally engaged, and he does this wonderful angular vocal line. And I love the change of time signature. It goes kind of proggy. Again, folks, if you have the opportunity to listen to the Steve Wilson remix, it's ace. It really lifts up a lot of the bottom end and the boogie line, the R&B lines in this particular track. My least favorite is Rock and Roll Doctor. So everything that you celebrate with your champagne glass, I actually throw it on the floor and don't like it at all. I just think the lyrics are naff and it's very lazy. And, I need to see a Rock and Roll Doctor. Please, come on. Could they have not come up with something a little bit more inspired, Mark? Yeah, I think too much cocaine on that one. Anyway.
Well, if they did a whole album like that, it would have been their worst album. But I just thought for them, it was just so utterly different.
Absolutely. Okay, so we get to the album from 1978, Never Say Die, another very divisive album. I like this a lot. I think it's an incredibly underrated album. Do you like this album?
Yes.
Yeah. Favorite? Least favorite?
Johnny Blade, my favorite.
Mine too. Love it.
Okay. Yeah, I love everything about it. I wish I could have seen them do it live. But oh well. But yeah, I think and the whole album it's really it's a step up from Technical Ecstasy, I think.
It is, but it seemed like they weren't. It was never going to be made. So Ozzy got fired. He got brought back in. Bill sings on one track, and then there's an instrumental on the other. So you can, on one hand, I really enjoy it and the different sonics, but on the other hand, it feels like the lemon is being squeezed.
Yeah.
And that's more so a reflection on the band probably having enough. They've had enough of each other, and you can sort of tell that there's not going to be any more of this lineup for quite some time. But I love the songs.
They either needed to take a couple of years off or get rid of Ozzy.
Yeah, well, they did the later. So, but Johnny the Blade, I think it's an exciting song.
Yeah,
I get excited. I feel like my heart rate goes up. I get a kind of a shiver up my spine in a good way. It's not a deep cut. I think this is a classic. It's storytelling about a small town hood. And I love when Ozzy goes, well, you know that Johnny's a spider. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Iami's got this really rolling guitar line. Butler's got this throbbing bass line. It's great. Love it. And again, another deep cut that was pulled out on the final concert, albeit by Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Whether you like Axl's interpretation and vocal lines, I'll leave that up to you. Check out Rock Daydream Nation, the review. I won't go into it in this forum, but I'm happy that it just got brought out.
Probably better than he did with AC/DC.
Maybe. maybe. Least favorite?
Uh, where are we? Oh, okay, wrong album. Yes, Breakout.
Same.
Now, what I think about that is King Crimson, yes. Vandergraft Generator, yes. Black Sabbath, no.
John Coltrane, Miles Davis offcuts, yes.
Mhm.
You know, bit of a sax, you know, workout.
Yeah,
It's odd. It's the
yeah, it
oddest
is.
song. It just, if you had to do a little compilation tape for somebody, just something just for fun, and just say the odd tracks of Sabbath, this would be like right up at the top of the pops.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
just
Yeah.
odd.
Hmm. Uh,
All right, Mark. Um, we go to the reunion album,
hmm.
the very final album for Black Sabbath 13. Wasn't a reunion as such because it was only the three of them. Again, that's another show. We could just talk about it. Bit unfortunate that Bill Ward was not able to play the drums. What are your feelings about this album? And tell us your favorite song and least favorite.
Well, I like it. It's not their best, but well, I guess my favorite was the end of the beginning. It could have been on a Sabbath album in the 70s. And well, yeah, I agree about Ward. Now they also, for a brief time, there was supposed to be a follow-up album to that. And I think they were trying to get Ward, but I guess a few weeks after it was announced that it looked like there was going to be one, then they announced nope. But I haven't played it in its entirety until for this. Yeah, I mean, since it came out, I think I did once or twice, but since then I haven't played the whole thing up until a couple of weeks ago. And it's a decent album, but not one I reach for that much.
So, what's your favorite, least favorite?
Loner. I just think it drags along
Right, that's your least favorite.
like a car when the muffler is dragging along. And
And,
yeah,
and there's sparks
yeah.
there. Thanks, Mark. I
Hmm.
find this album an ordeal. It's too long, and I haven't got the attention span to go over it. I think it drags. It really drags it out. I don't like it very much at all. I think it's at the bottom of the Ozzy years.
Hmm.
And I know that Rick Rubin had a really interesting approach because he was getting everyone focused on the original album, the 1969, and
Yeah.
trying to replicate those sonics, but something just got lost in translation. To me, Sabbath should be punchy. It should have the sonics of recorded in a dungeon. It should be grungy. But a lot of this was just a lot of songs that were ambling and taking their time, taking too long to reveal themselves. Like
Hmm.
Sabbath, maybe there's a misconception that Sabbath used to write really long songs, but a lot of their greatest songs were really punchy in 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
This one I don't have the figures in front of me. It seems like maybe 70 minutes, way too long.
Yeah. I agree.
And probably my favorite is Navette in Black.
Hmm.
Has a bit of spirit and energy, but it does not sound like the classic Black Sabbath. It's something like they're harking back to what the Dio era would have done, and probably in
Hmm.
the Dehumanizer album era. It's
Hmm.
got some very gothic power chord changes. So to me, I find it strange that Rick Rubin's tried to go back to '69 and that sort of that early, very early genesis of Sabbath, but you've got a song like this that sounds like Dio could have done.
Yeah.
God is Dead is the worst song. It's long, drawn out. It's plain exhausting to get through. The riffs are not compelling, and it's kind of boring. And very dull.
Yeah, and one of the well, I saw Sabbath here in Melbourne in 13 and 16. Now I'm trying to remember if they did it in 16. I think in 13 they did it.
13 they did it.
Yeah, and Ozzy was sort of struggling through it. Actually, there was it seemed like a few songs. Now they did 2 shows in 13 in Melbourne. I don't know if I was at the first or second. And Ozzy's voice, I mean, he looked terrible. He was just holding on to the mic. And his voice almost totally went. And my friend and I were crying, or not out and out crying, but tears. But then he recovered for the end of the show. And then when they came here in 16, I was thinking, oh dear, what's going to be left of him if he was like that 3 years ago? He was as good as he could have been, moving around even less. But that last show in 16 was incredible.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think the 16 tour was better. He was a bit pitchy from song to song, certain songs, like Dirty Women. I know he was really pitchy in that song. That just stuck with me. But all in all, I thought he was really good and the band were great.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, 13, I don't really, I wouldn't recommend it. So, folks, it's the 70s for me, the 70s albums. Anyway, Mark, it's been a pleasure. This has been fun. We've got to do this again. We'll pick a catalogue, best song, worst song. Always controversial, a lot of contrarian views, but that's what makes the world go round. It's always good to hear different opinions. And the Sabbath, I love it. I love Black Sabbath. All eras, all singers, all different types. I think it's just such a great catalogue, and the Ozzy era is probably that's where it's at.
Yes, and as you know, on the Pulse, I've gotten a guy from Canada to do an all Black Sabbath show. Well, he just quit, so I'm doing that now, an hour weekly show. And I kept the name he gave it, the Black Chapel. And
Okay, well, check that out with Mark O'Neill on the Black Chapel on Pulse 94.7 FM. I will put the links below.
Tuesday nights following you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure.
Please like and subscribe to Rock Daydream Nation. Tell us your favorite Sabbath songs, best song, worst song across all the Ozzy albums. We love reading your comments. But one thing's for sure, you will see Mark and I doing more shows in 2025 and beyond. Mark, it's been a pleasure. Good night and cheers.
Good night.
All the best. See ya.
Bye.